Okay, we're back to our top 10 songs from our bands, Michael Mark here, and we are going to feature Rush, uh, progressive rock band from Ontario, Canada. So we're going to let Mike start things off here with his top 10.
Well, first of all, what can I say about Rush? Got a lot of albums. Got 18 or so studio albums, I guess. And I think most of my choices, and I'm sure yours, are the majority of them are probably from the first 6 or 7, that era.
Yeah. Quite a bit of radio play with certain songs. There's probably a good 4 or 5 that are probably continually played to this day. Not many, but a few.
All right, well, I'll start with my top 10 then. First one goes to their second album, Fly By Night, and that's In the End. And their third album, Caress of Steel, Fountain of the Lamneth. Nice, pretty cool epic. Well, it's a real good epic.
Mm-hmm.
One of their few. Well, they've got a number of epics, I guess, but I think that's certainly my favorite of all of the epics that they have. And going to the 2112 album, surprisingly, after I was done with this, I have 3 songs from that album. The 2112 song itself, which I guess is a one side, like 20 minutes or something maybe, and A Passage to Bangkok. I don't know what it is about that song, but I've always liked it, and Something for Nothing. Then move on to my favorite album by far, the one that's being shown there, Farewell to Kings album. For some reason well, obviously that's my favorite because I've got 3 songs, Xanadu, Cinderella Man, and Farewell to Kings, that I just love those 3. That might be my 3 favorite Rush songs, actually. Looking at them right now, I think those are my 3 favorite. I don't know what the appeal is. Maybe it's just the time period that Rush was writing songs. It just is so good at that point. And then after that came
Hemispheres.
Hemispheres, thank you. And my last 2 are off of Hemispheres, The Trees and Cygnus X1 Book 2.
Okay. Honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions from Caress of Steel. Now I'm going to have to think about these, make sure I got the right album. Caress of Steel, Bastille Day. I always like that from the late 70s when it came out, mid to late 70s. Cygnus X1, which is off of Farewell to Kings. Natural Science from Permanent Waves.
Permanent Waves, that's right.
Yeah. Red Barchetta from Moving Pictures. Distant Early Warning from Grace Under Pressure. Circumstances from Hemispheres, short song. It's only a few minutes, I think, or so. And then 2 songs that for some reason I really liked, and they're back to back. They're first and second songs on Hold Your Fire, Force 10 and Time Stands Still. And for the life of me, I can't explain why I didn't have any songs for several albums, and all of a sudden those two pop up as favorites, and that was about their 12th album, I think. And then after that, there was really nothing that stood out for me. Good albums. I like them. I like to listen to them from time to time, but there's no real standout songs. So, but that's my top 18.
Okay.
What do you have, Mark?
Okay. I'm as usual. I'm gonna be all over the place. I don't go album by album, but we're gonna start out with Xanadu, which is probably my favorite Rush song as well. A Farewell to Kings, another great one. Title track. And from Crest of Steel, Bastille Day. Trees. And from Grace Under Pressure, Distant Early Warning, which has always been a big favorite of mine. And then we're going to go several into Crest of Steel, Lakeside Park, which is a pretty much unlike any other Rush song. I really like it a lot. It's got an interesting vibe to it, and I think they do a great job with it. And then both epics, The Fountain of Lamneth and The Necromancer, I think it's just that period, like Mike was talking about. It's just a peak period of writing and mood and just style that was soon to change after Hemispheres. And then my last two from the losing track here. From Moving Pictures, Witch Hunt, big favorite of mine, and then Anthem, which is the first album, correct? I thought it was on. Oh, it's on Fly By Night.
Yeah.
It's on Fly By Night. Okay.
Yep.
I could not. We're doing this all off the cuff. We don't have notes. We don't have anything with us. But yeah, it's on.
Yeah, it was Fly By Night.
It's on Fly By Night. Okay. My honorable mentions. I only got 4. A Passage to Bangkok, Something for Nothing, which is both from 2112. And one from an album we didn't even touch. I can't for the life of me think of the name of the album. Subdivisions, which I always liked, and Working Man from the first album. Got a little burnt out on it for a while, but actually I like it quite a bit. And that's my list.
That's I think it's Signals, right? Subdivision.
Signals.
Yeah.
That's it. Signals.
So we're pretty doggone close on these. We were very close,
Yeah.
and the ones that I didn't have that you mentioned were definitely up there in my top 30. I do like Anthem a lot. I do like Lakeside Park. That is a great song. It could easily be in there in my honorable mentions. And it's funny you mentioned the style changes. They really did. It was like almost in blocks of like 2 or 3 albums at a time, and they just slowly really changed, going from a kind of a bluesy hard rock band, and they morphed into later on into more science fiction and a lot more keyboard oriented. And but if you really think through all their albums, they didn't change dramatically, but they did slowly change from album to album. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's quite a bit of variety in those 18 albums. They don't all sound the same like some bands would. So give them credit for that. Yeah. And give them credit for being that same threesome, other than the first album, I think, had Rutsey on drums. But from album 2 to 18 or whatever it was the same band. And those guys stuck together. And Definitely one, you know, one of my top 50 bands or something. But and you know, in the progressive rock world, they're one of the top bands.
They're one of the
by way of
I was
popularity.
gonna say that they're one of the kings in that genre.
Yeah, and a lot of people like Rush.
Yeah.
So they really went from being nobody to gaining a huge fan base over the years.
And I would say the fan base was somewhat limited, even though they did well live. Up through hemispheres, they really didn't have a, a huge following. I would say in album sales, and then when Permanent Waves came out, that was a big seller, and that kind of put them on the map.
And really young people, mainly young people, were really into them.
Yeah.
You know, even in their later years, it was still, you got 50-something-year-old guys out there, almost 60, and they've got, you know, 20-year-old kids following them. So that's kind of interesting too, that they've had this 20-year-old crowd for 40 years.
Yeah, looking back, I think really honestly, Spirit of Radio seemed to me to be the turning point for them. That's when they became like these massively known band. They weren't at that level, and I think when that hit, everybody went nuts. And like you said, the science fiction lyrics, very accessible, hard rock. You know, I really think that was the turning point financially for them.
Yeah, and supposedly they're all but done today. So
yeah. All right. Well, we'll close it out there, and hope you like the video. Comment, subscribe, and we will see you with the next band. Thanks for watching.